Welcome, geniuses. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Mentioning that, please do drop it into the chat and tell us where you're tuning in from. I noticed that quite a lot of you are already here, and a few people are still joining. This is your Genius Metaversity Masterclass, Winning with AI. How to unlock the billionaire's mindset and monetize trust with Genie AI. So without further ado, just want to thank everybody for being here today. And I hope you'll all get everything you want out of this wonderful masterclass. If everybody is ready to go, I am ready to hand over to Roger. Please do enjoy, guys, and I will see you on the other side. Are we ready to go at Roger's end?
Special Genius Metaversity call, and I am joined today by none other than Ryan Levesque. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Roger, it's great to be here. Great to be chatting with you here today.
Yeah, super excited as well, because when we last spoke, it was at our summit. And at that point, we just launched our Genie AI. We were just getting into the whole kind of AI boom. And obviously things have really progressed a lot since then. So I'm super excited about today. I know we're going to be talking about AI, how it really impacts your business. What would you say and sum up for everyone before we even jump into it are kind of like the key mindset shifts that you have found for you and the team to make sure you're keeping up to date with all the changes happening?
There's a couple that come to mind. One, I would say, is this paradigm that we've entered into of using AI has literally taken processes that previously took us and our clients sometimes months or even longer to complete in literally just a matter of seconds. And I think people are just still becoming used to that fact. So that's the first thing. It's just radically shortcutting time, like our single most valuable asset that we all have. Second thing that I would say is that when it comes to AI, we got to think about it as being a tool. It's like a shovel. It's not going to do all the things for you. It's a tool that you can learn to wield as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as an expert, as a business owner. And the better you get at learning how to wield this tool, like any new piece of technology when it comes through, the more successful you're going to be as we enter into this new era of business and of life. So those are, I think, few of the mindsets that are, I think, helpful to have as we enter into the conversation here today.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Well, that gives us a bit of an intro to what we're going to cover. And I'm going to share a couple of slides here. As always, for all of our Genius Metaversity members, we have got slides that you can follow along afterwards here as well. Theme for today is winning with AI, how to unlock the billionaire's mindset and monetize trust with Genie AI, and frankly, with all AI. And many of you know of Ryan already. I think it's always great speaking with someone who has learned particular processes that have worked in Web 2, which is the whole social media and online platform side, and then having to unlearn to relearn a whole new way of doing things now that AI has shown up, and now that we're actually moving into the metaverse as well. So Ryan has already proved his chops 6 times, Inc. 5000 CEO, and also best-selling author. And the Ask method I love because it is all about assessments and how do you get people interested in themselves before you try and get them interested in you. How do you use that in a way that you can then bucket them into different demographics just based on their answers? And so that's where bucket.io comes out as well. And that means that Ryan not only has had experience basically teaching a method and getting many people around the world using it, but also building a system that allows them to be able to then build their own assessments and grow it as well. And we're going to be going into some of these slides you see here, which is basically what is the fundamental key thing when it comes to unlocking AI, and most importantly, knowing that the speed of trust keeps on accelerating. Like, how do we actually use AI in a way to get to trust faster by personalizing things faster as well, right? And what are the ways to do that? So we've got a little bit of that's going to be coming. But with that, I would love to basically start with a question I asked you when we last spoke as well, which is how much you've had to unlearn or to think differently, especially given that the old ways of doing things had so much to do with kind of like, what is your return on ad spend? How much is going into Facebook ads or Google ads? How much is then leading from that into, some kind of a pathway? and knowing at the moment, like, people are being engaged in totally different ways. And frankly, people are having access to way more content than ever before with all of the growth of social media that's personalized already using AI. And you can't be using TikTok, Instagram, any of the platforms without AI already delivering, things at an accelerated pace, which is more personalized to you than any one of us on our own can actually deliver, which is why so many of us actually go into those platforms. But to know that we actually each can now build our own platforms off the back of it, that's a whole different thing. So yeah, I'd love for you to share maybe just a little bit, for anyone who's not really aware of the ask method, how you frame that out and what the success of that is, and then what you're now seeing change within that method.
Yeah, it's so many great questions within that, and I'll try to kind of tackle them in a sort of sequential order. So first and foremost, what is the ask method? The whole philosophy behind the ask methodology is before you begin selling online, before you begin putting your offer, your message in front of a potential client, you take a step back and you begin by asking a series of questions to better understand who your audience is, to understand their needs, their wants, desires, to understand the natural language that they use to express those needs, wants, and desires, so that you can articulate back to them in a way that resonates with who they are. So you're tapping into natural consumer language. You're tapping into the different segments or buckets that exist in your market, so you can personalize what it is that you put in front of people. Even if you only have one thing to sell, you can position that thing in such a way that the end user feels like it's squarely and specifically for them. So that's the sort of philosophy behind it. And it's a timeless philosophy. As long as, we have the human nature that we have now as human beings, the psychology that we have, we all care more about ourselves than anything else. Like, we have that selfish self-interest. And so our favorite subject is ourselves. We want to know more about ourselves. We want not a generic list of solutions. We want to know what is the right solution for me, based on my specific situation right now. So that's the philosophy. Now, in terms of the methodology for how you act on that, that's where things have really shifted in a major, major way. And if it's okay with you, Roger, I have a few, I think, things that'd be really powerful to show on screen to kind of just show the massive change that's taken place in literally the last year, less than the last year, with the advent and democratization of AI technology. And this is what I think is so exciting. So AI technology is not brand new, but it is new. What is brand new is the access to this AI technology for those of us who are at effectively the consumer level. So small business owners, entrepreneurs at the consumer level, companies that are not Google, Apple, Meta, and so on and so forth, who have access to large data sets. Now that technology has been put in our hands. So the question is, how do we use it, and how do we most use it effectively? So what I'll share with you here on the screen is kind of where things were not that long ago. So a core concept behind this ask method is, first and foremost, the secret to succeeding in business is to figure out what people want and give it to them. And the way you do that is by asking. Now, you can't just ask people what they want to buy, because people actually don't know. Like, you're asking someone to project what it is that they want. And there are all sorts of famous quotes about this, right? So Henry Ford, the famous quote that was attributed to him, if I would have asked people what they would have wanted, they would have told me faster horses, right? Steve Jobs is famous for saying, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. And the reason why those quotes ring true is because they are true. What people are not necessarily good at is projecting what it is that they want. What they are really good at is projecting what it is that they don't want, expressing their challenges, their frustrations. Oh, I hate this. I'm so frustrated by this. And with that information, there's a seed of opportunity that, as an entrepreneur, you can find the gap that exists in your market and fill it. Now, historically, the way that you've done that is through a number of different paths, and I'll show you where things have changed in a major way. So historically, the way that you've done that is you've done something like a survey. You've asked a series of open-ended questions to identify what the biggest challenges someone might have in their market. And this is an example of survey results in a project that we recently engaged in our business. You can see here, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of responses. And then with this information, you can mine it, you can analyze it. The challenge with this, Roger, as you know, is that unless you have access to a large database of people in the form of an email list or a community, it's very hard to get access to this information. So this has been what we call the classic approach to a deep dive survey. Now, the alternative to this is that instead of mining thousands of data points in a survey, is you can have a handful of one-on-one conversations. So you could do like you and I are doing right now. We could have a conversation. You could ask me questions. You could transcribe that conversation and do it with some of your prospective clients, maybe some existing clients, people in your market, and then you can mine that information for the seed of opportunity that exists. That's what we call a lean deep dive survey. The alternative to that, if you don't have access, is you go online and you do what's called a stealth deep dive survey, whereby you go to a place like, for example, I'll pull on my screen right here, a social media group, like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group, or a place where people are congregating online to see what is the natural language people are using in their market, like this one right here. Or you go to a place like Amazon.com and you mine the reviews, the natural language people are using to express their frustration about a product or service. And then with that, you find the opportunity. Now, the challenge, Roger, with all these approaches, whether you're taking the classic, lean, or the stealth approach, is that they all take time in two ways. Number one, to gather all that data, very, very time consuming, number one. And number two, analyzing that data, very difficult. Because we as human beings are not equipped to be able to take a massive amount of data and identify what are the 5 most common themes that are showing up in these 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 survey responses. What are the 5 biggest objections to buy, the 5 biggest challenges, the 5 biggest desires? That's incredibly challenging. Now, this is where AI comes in and where things are so exciting, because there's now a fourth way to gather this market intelligence in your market. And I want to demonstrate a way that you can do this using a piece of technology. And it's not the only way to do this, but I'm going to demonstrate a way to do this that is really, really powerful. So I'll show on my screen here. This is a piece of technology. You mentioned it just a moment ago, bucket.io. It's a technology for building segmentation funnels in the form of quizzes, assessments, surveys, and so on and so forth. And it's a technology that over 82 million end users have gone through. So 82 million people is about 1% of humanity. So 1% of the unique human beings on the planet have gone through a quiz or an assessment or a funnel of some sort built through this technology. And what I want to show you is how the first thing that we just talked about just a moment ago, how you can radically shortcut the process. So the first thing that you need to do before you build anything is you've got to get your market message sorted out. You got to figure out what is it that the market actually wants, so you can echo back that language in your content, in your funnel if you use a funnel, in your program if you're building some type of program. So let's take a look at the process. So a moment ago, I showed you kind of the old way of doing things, doing a deep dive survey, scanning the internet for information, and so on and so forth. Let me show you how fast we can actually replace this process. So let's take a niche, for example. If you are in the real estate investing niche, which I know a niche that's near and dear to your heart, and one that I think many people in our community here would resonate with. The first thing that you need to do when you're interacting with AI is you need to articulate the role that you want AI to play. In other words, you want to articulate the role that AI is going to be playing so that it's pulling from specialized knowledge. So for example, if you are a relationship therapist, you want AI to play the role of relationship therapist so that it can interpret data through the lens of that expertise. If you are a civil engineer who specializes in building large-scale industrial projects, that's a whole different type of expertise. So if you are a residential real estate investor, let's say, and that's your expertise, then that's what we want to be describing right here, residential real estate investor. Okay. Now let's say your market niche is residential real estate investing. That is the area of real estate that you help people with. That's your niche. That's your market, and you want to choose that right here. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to identify what type of person we want to pull this deep dive survey language from. Because after all, we don't want to just pull from people in general, people at large. If we do that, we're going to be pulling from a very generalized data set of information. It's not going to be very valuable because it's not specialized enough. So let's say, for example, that you are in residential real estate investing and you are specifically targeting a group of people, and you'll see it articulated on my screen. Let's say that you want to focus on married couples in their 30s and 40s so that they're at an age where they have accumulated enough equity in their home and the assets that they built, but they're also young enough that they're still kind of in an expansion mode in their life. They're not, at retirement age looking to downsize and downscale what they're doing. Maybe it's someone that has experience or may not have experience with in investing right here. So they may or may not have experience. And we're specifically looking to target language from people who are actively looking to grow their real estate portfolio in the next 12 months or so, right? We want someone who is an active participant in this market. So I'm going to save and continue right here. And then let's say, for example, you're creating a program. It could be a coaching program. It could be a course. It could be some type of consultative service that you might provide to people on how to get your next investment property, just broadly speaking. Okay, so now we're at this interesting fork in the road, Roger, where we can do a couple of different things. Number one, if you have built a survey through this technology, you can just connect directly to that survey. So you could pull straight from the survey that you've already created inside the technology. You just choose the funnel right here, choose what question or questions you want to pull the language from, and we can do that right here. We could upload a file. So if we've got a large data set like this one right here, we could upload this data set and we could scan the rich information that's here inside this data set to identify the different themes and challenges and opportunities that exist in that market. We could copy and paste language right here. So we could literally go to, the reviews on Amazon for a product, for example, and we could copy and paste those reviews and see what people like, what people don't like. We could do all that, or we could hit the easy button. If you don't have a data set, which most people don't, and you haven't had the time or the ability to pull all that information, we can actually pull from the wide variety of natural data sets that are available online that meet this definition right here. So we can pull from the language that's been extracted from OpenAI's ChatGPT technology, for example, and the other AI language models that are available through an integration that Bucket.io 3.0 AI has with various different pieces of technology. So if I click this button right here, with that information, in just a matter of seconds, I can identify, for example, the challenges that exist in this market among this specific group of people. So for example, if I just click this button, generate with AI, in just a matter of seconds, what would otherwise take me hours, days, weeks to be mining from that information, you can see right here. I have this information. I have the challenges that exist in the market. And not only do I have challenges that exist in the market, but I'll zoom this in. Actually, I'm not going to be able to do that based on my screen resolution. What you'll see here is evidence of the natural consumer language that provides examples of people with that specific challenge. So for example, in this market, challenge number one, finding the right investment property. We've been searching for months, but we can't seem to find the perfect property. We've been having a hard time identifying neighborhoods with high potential for growth. It's challenging to find properties within our budget that have positive cash flow potential. Next up, financing the investment property. You can see right here, more evidence of this. Assessing the potential return on investment. We've got more evidence of this right here. And this is just scratching the surface. If we wanted to go back and say, give me 5 more challenges, or please provide more evidence of all these challenges, I can simply do that by clicking the new result button right here, or refining the result to get even more answers along the way. So in just a matter of seconds, you can see right here, I've got even more answers that I can pull from. Now, identifying the right investment opportunities, financing the new investment property. So I'm literally able to extract the challenges that exist in the market in just a matter of seconds. Now, this is interesting, but it gets even more interesting, Roger, when we just take this information, and I'm just going to quickly do this. I'm just going to grab this information. I'm going to add it here because all the work that we're doing right now in this process becomes additive. It builds. In other words, we can take this information right here, and we're going to be able to use this as a foundational piece in our business to craft every single piece of messaging, every single piece of copy, every single asset that we create in our business. For example, we can take this information that I'm literally just extracting right here, and we can use it to automatically write landing page copy, automatically create an entire presentation, which I'll show you how to do for selling a program around this. You can use this to actually build out an actual irresistible offer. And we can go through this process, challenges, the same thing with the desires that exist in the market, the same thing that exists with the objections that exist in the market, and more. So what I just showed you right here in just a matter of seconds, and I'll pause here in this step of the process, is something that even 6 months ago would have taken probably, if not days, maybe weeks to actually get done, to grab that data, to accumulate that data, to analyze that data, to organize that data into themes and buckets and analyze the natural consumer language. With the power of this technology, we can now do it, as you saw, in literally just a matter of seconds. That is how the world has changed, which like continually blows me away, even though I've now seen this and have done this and engaged in this many, many, many times.
Well, what I really like about the way that you've structured this as well, and I think this is by far the most effective example of use case, because a lot of people, they'll go to something like ChatGPT, and there's actually articles out this week about how the kind of the boom that happened is now starting to fade a little bit, because what's happening is people are going to it and they're prompting, but if you're prompting, it's like what Mike was saying, said the other day. It's like, look, if you're prompting to say, like make me something with eggs, is going to make you bored eggs, right? But if you actually like understand that there's a part even in that prompting, which is the prepping part, it's like, how do you actually prep in such a way that you've given, you're saying, no, you're not just going to give me this information as an LLM, you're going to give me this information as Gordon Ramsay, right? Like, okay, so now how are you going to actually express this? That whole aspect about, how do you even prep up the AI to be in a position where it can actually deliver it? What you've done is you've done a framework on it, because you understand that, look, whatever you're going to build, it has to be built on a compelling offer, and a compelling offer has to be built on basically it's solving someone's challenges and also overcoming their objections. For a lot of people, they're not even aware of those basics, or if they are, they forget. But you're ensuring that like you're covering this in whatever your main focus is, right? I have a question for you on this, is that, like that whole pathway that you've got like ends up delivering a blueprint, right? And it links in with bucket.io as well. So when you're seeing people go through this, what you shared, is that already launched and are people using it? And if so, what's been the experience you're getting back, feedback you're getting back from the clients that are using it right now?
I mean, the feedback that we've been getting has been, incredible. I mean, this is new. This is not like, this hasn't been around for a long time. We've launched it. People are using it right now. People are describing it as, in some cases, the single biggest game changer that they've experienced in their business. And I don't want to make this a commercial, but I'll just show you. This will just kind of underscore, what people are saying about this process. For those who have gone through this, if you've never gone through this process before, it's sort of like if you've never had to, cross the continent by foot before the creation of automobile technology. You're not going to appreciate riding in a car, driving cross country, like, oh, how easy this is. And it's similar to, I think we forget that when it wasn't that long ago, like you and I, Roger, are old enough to remember when we were kids and we did school research projects, and you would go to the library, right? Maybe you would ask one of your parents, say, hey, mom, dad, can you bring me to the library? And you go to the library, and then you'd look in the card catalog and you'd look for a book, and you'd have to find it through the stacks, and you'd open it up and you'd find the page, and you go to the photocopier and you'd photocopy a page. And like, you think about that process and how long it was. That is in our lifetime. And now literally we can take out our phone and just say a few words and get an answer to that thing. And now we get frustrated when a website takes more than 2.5 seconds to load, right? It's just like our baseline continually shifts. So if you haven't gone through this process, it may not be as apparent, but I'll just share with you just a few words that people have said. And just, this is literally in the last week or so, having gone through this technology. You can see right here. I've literally spent months and thousands of dollars coming up with my own copy in the past, is what Marnina says. What a trip this was. It's taken me months, and I've been able to do this in less than an hour and design a few things that I was thinking of adding. So much fun is what I'm hearing people say, which is really cool. Like, it's fun. This used to go from like a grueling task that was not enjoyable to having fun. Literally, I just this week came up with an amazing offer, getting all this done in a matter of seconds. And we just have literally person after person saying it's mind blowing the amount of hours I spent in the past over this and still not get it done. In a matter of hours, it's just done. It's made it super easy to get decisions and move forward. I could not have believed it. And this is a great example. My topic is rather obscure, and I didn't believe that I would be able to do that. But this took me 8 minutes of my time. I am speechless. And we have, hundreds of users that are having similar experiences to this. But the important thing, though, Rogers, is what I just showed a moment ago is a building block. That's not the end game. That's literally like the first building block in the process. You don't just walk away and say, okay, great. I go through this process right here. I've got this kind of neat little blueprint, which kind of comes together and gives me what my desires and objections and challenges are in my market. That's not the end game. Instead, what we do is we take that market message and now we use it to actually build out an offer. So for example, if I take this example right here, next thing that we need to do is, what is the bold promise behind your offer? So what is it? What is the transformation that you're providing in the thing that you're thinking about selling? Now, of course, you could enter that manually. You could say, you know, with your program, for example, we're going to connect you with some of the most cutting edge technology and luminary entrepreneurs so that you can be inspired and have the, you know, billionaire mindset, or whatever your bold promise might be for your program. You can enter that manually. Or we could leverage the power of AI to pull from all of that language, that natural language that we've started to mine, and we can come up with a whole bunch of different options. Like, for example, how to secure your financial future and create passive income with real estate, even if you struggle to find the right investment location and property details. How to achieve financial freedom and improve your quality of life through real estate investing without wasting time on research or getting overwhelmed by legal and financial complexities. And we've got a bunch of different options that we can choose from, mix and match, pull them together. We can refine further, all using the power of AI in just a matter of seconds. So instead of staring at a blank screen, we can literally fill this in step by step. And then with this information, what gets really interesting is if we say, all right, I'm selling a digital course, let's just say, for example, and let's say it's a, I don't know, it's a 6-week course. 6 weeks. Now we can say, if you've ever stared at a blank page trying to figure out what the heck should you name your product, what should you call your thing, again, in a matter of seconds, we've got a whole bunch of different options. I'll call it, let's say, real estate mastery, unlocking passive income and financial freedom for married couples. I like that one right there. But it gets better, because with the right inputs, like, for example, figuring out what you're going to charge for your program, it's a $5,000 program, we can now start to provide inputs. AI is a garbage in, garbage out technology, meaning the quality of your output is dictated by the quality of your input, which you've provided. So let's say, for example, if we start adding certain things, like the course that I'm teaching is going to be, let's say it's a virtual program that have virtual training every week. I do Q&A calls once a week as well. I've got a social media group that I might offer for the duration of the program. I offer email support. Maybe I offer some type of software, call it an AI software solution. I've got some other resources, maybe some PDF library or something like that. Save and continue. And with these inputs, now with AI, it will take all of this cumulative input that we provided, and it will start generating what you might actually create for the features and benefits of your program and how to articulate those features and benefits. Like, for example, you can see right here, feature number 1, that live virtual teaching. Here's how we can position it. Live virtual teaching, Real Estate Mastery Live. Join our weekly live virtual teaching sessions where you'll learn the proven strategies and tactics to unlock passive income, financial freedom through real estate investing. Benefits are learn from industry experts, gain access to insider tips, interact with like-minded married couples, and so on and so forth. This is literally building your offer in just a matter of minutes. And to your point, Roger, the key is that you're pulling this information from your market, not from your mind. And it's all possible in a matter of seconds using the power of AI. So we can literally just build our product, build our offer, literally in just a matter of moments right here. I can just grab this feature right here. Let's call it Real Estate Mastery Live. I can put a value on that if I want. So I can have my description right here. And of course, as a human being, you have the ability to override any of this information that's here, and you have a responsibility to fact check this information to make sure that what it is that you're claiming right here is something that's actually true. And I can literally add feature after feature after feature in this process. I can do the same thing with bonuses. I can do the same thing with my reason to act now, the urgency and scarcity, all pulled from the market, not from the mind. So the market message piece that we started with is like the first building block. It's like the cornerstone. When you're actually constructing a building, it's the cornerstone to every other piece that comes from it. And then from this offer, it becomes this wellspring that we can build ads, social media posts, landing page copy. We can build presentation scripts, video scripts to articulate and talk about what it is that you are offering. There have only been a few times in my career, having been in this space for almost 20 years now, that I've been as excited about this technology right here, just because of how much it not only shortcuts the process, but it eliminates so many of the failure points and challenge points that entrepreneurs run into when it comes to all of these pieces that are critical in succeeding in business.
Yeah, I think that is the key to this, is that anyone who's come up with any methodology, right? You obviously have with Ask Method. I've done the same with a lot of the mentoring for, entrepreneurs at different levels. Here's the steps you take. It's no different from like, going to a gym and having an instructor there saying, hey, I know exactly how I can get you in shape, and here's the steps. But it's one thing to actually have the plan. It's another thing to get to execution, because always at the execution stage, it's like, you go, oh, just put together 5 emails. Well, you could easily do that because you know how to do emails quickly, whereas someone else who doesn't do emails quickly will go, oh, geez, like that's going to stop me straight away, right? And what's happening here with AI is that it's getting over that hurdle, which is the hurdle of content creation or ideation. And a really important thing here, like, because one of the biggest confidence gaps that I see with anyone, and I'm sure there'll be many here listening as well who relate to this, it's like, yeah, I see other people do it, doesn't make me feel better about the fact they can do it, and I still haven't figured out how to do it. I even know the steps, and I still aren't not doing it. An analogy I give is you might have low confidence in creating, but you have no low confidence in consuming. Like if I said, look, we're going out for dinner tonight, you got to make yourself a pair of shoes to wear by dinner time. A lot of people would be filled with anxiety. They're like, I don't even know how to make a pair of shoes. But if I said, you just got to buy a pair of shoes before dinner time, everyone knows how to do that, right? It's like, and why is that? It's because we've been educated over the last 20 years how to be really good consumers, right? We can all analyze an ad and tell you exactly, even if a company's spent billions on that ad, we can tell you exactly where the ad goes wrong in terms of us not consuming that and trusting it in the right way. So we know how to be consumers. We know how to go out and compare different things and make choices and buy things. But most of us haven't got to that same level as creators. And one of the biggest reasons for that is because the entire economy designed everything in a modular structure. So if you go to a Starbucks or McDonald's, they made it so easy for you to consume and to upsell and all these other things. What's happening now with AI is the next stage, which is that it's making it as easy to create and actually, again, mix and match, color by numbers, and it's accelerating it so much more, and then getting us to a point where we're going to have so many new people who are figuring out how to be successful in business, not because they had just a knack to be able to create, but because they're using these creation tools, which I think is super, super important. I'd love your comment on that. And I'd love for you to move on to the third step, which is the actual delivery system as well, because that's where I think people get even more caught up in actually putting the ads together, putting the path together, and so on as well.
Yeah, so a couple things that I'll unpack there. So I think first things first, if you're watching this right now or you're seeing any type of AI technology, this isn't the only AI technology that's available, but when you see something like this, I think there are a couple thoughts that you want to have. If you are not adopting this technology for yourself and you're not up-leveling your skill set to learn how to use this technology, I can tell you what, the other competitors that are in your exact market that are watching this presentation right now or this conversation and conversations like this certainly are. So you will be left in the dust. It will be, if any one of these movies where you've seen where there's this major shift change, The Last Samurai is one that comes to mind, right? Where the samurai of Japan, where the preeminent warrior, and we had the Gatling gun introduced, and there were no match to that technology. Even the mightiest warrior in the old paradigm was no match for the new technology that was coming through. And this will be true for all of us as entrepreneurs. Even the mightiest expert entrepreneur, most successful in the old paradigm, trying to compete against an expert, an entrepreneur, a CEO with AI technology will be no match. So the time is now. This is an opportunity that we all have to up-level our skills. So that's number one. Number two, what I would say is fear not the technology. Fear the competitor who has armed themselves with the technology. So I think we have this kind of sense like AI is coming for your job. AI is coming for nothing. AI does not care about your job. AI is agnostic in that way. It's a technology. It's a piece of technology. And so what I would encourage all of us to have an attitude toward is an attitude toward curiosity, an attitude toward exploration, and an attitude toward growth and learning how to use these technologies that are rapidly becoming available to our advantage. Again, it's a tool, it's a shovel. Learn how to use this shovel. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's now kind of let's bring this together, and I'll show. There are a number of different examples that I could show, but one that I will show here is I think really powerful, that will really underscore just how effective this technology can be. And let's actually create an entire presentation script, literally right before our eyes. So I'll show this example right here. This is, I'll do a presentation script in this example. We're going to pull from the market message blueprint, irresistible offer blueprint. And let's say, for example, you have an actual a program, a product that we've created. So first things first, we need to decide for this presentation. Let's say you've got a presentation that you are making. And it could be a presentation that you're making in person, online. It could be one where you're talking about your products and services, one where you're doing some education. So you're doing some education and some selling or some enrollment along the way. And I'll walk you through this process. All right. So I'm going to shortcut this process just in the interest of time that we have in our session here right now. But let's say that they're working with you and your team. And then let's say we want to have the title of the presentation. I'm just going through this rather quickly. We're selling, let's say, a high ticket product, and let's actually script out our welcome and introduction. Okay, so using the information that we've gathered, so the market message, the irresistible offer, all of those inputs, we can, in just a matter of seconds right here, literally script out a usable presentation. Let's just add this here. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to save and continue. You can see right here. Welcome. I'm absolutely thrilled to see you here. My name is Delia Smith. Those of you who know. I'm a property investment advisor with a passion for helping families achieve their dreams of financial security. And today I want to demystify the world of real estate investing and provide you with a roadmap to wealth. You can see here, I've witnessed countless individuals transform their lives and create lasting legacies by strategically investing in property. That's why I've created this presentation, Real Estate Investing Demystified, Your Roadmap to Wealth. And you can see how it goes on and on and on. Next up right here, let's say you need a stick strategy. You got to figure out some way to get people to stick through to the end of your presentation, all the way to the end. I can have a series of stick strategies. Maybe I want to say, I've got a free gift, or I want to say, stay engaged to the end. You'll unlock a wealth of bonuses and tips that I'm going to be sharing with you. The final segment is something that I've got really good. So again, it's a tool where you can choose the option that you like. You can generate more options. You can refine it further. And let's say we want to talk about the mistakes that people make in this market. Again, quality of output is dictated by the quality of your input. And we can literally, section by section of your presentation, we can build this out one section at a time. So you can see right here, mistakes content. It's common best practice when you are helping people see the gap that exists between where they are now and where your product comes in, to identify what that gap is, articulate that gap, put that gap under the microscope, and showcase how your product fills that gap. So right here, mistake number one, failing to plan, investing without a clear strategy, avoiding the mistake. The key to avoiding this mistake is to develop a solid plan. And this is the first step of our Propel framework, which is the framework that we're coming up with in this piece right here. We can do the same thing with the case study and so on and so forth. And I'm going to kind of fast forward through this process, because this will kind of illustrate, as we go to this blueprint right here, having an entire scripted presentation, section by section, where you're getting into the logistics, talking about the single most important thing and why it's important that people pay attention, explaining how this is for you, if the challenges that people are facing in the market, why they're in the right place, why they should pay attention, literally introducing any case studies that you might have, that you might want to showcase, the mistakes, as we've talked about just a moment ago, and literally on and on and on, have an entire presentation scripted, word for word, that you could literally deliver today in just a matter of minutes, all using this technology. And so whether it's a few bullets on a landing page, whether it's scripting an email or writing an email sequence that kind of articulates what you want to share, an entire webinar or workshop or presentation, it blows my mind thinking about how many thousands, if not tens of thousands of hours, even I've personally myself invested in creating content like this, messaging like this, building out programs like this, that AI has just lifted right off of our shoulders. So I think that is one example. I could give many, many more of how using this technology just is a game changer. I mean, it just
Awesome.
it literally changed the game.
Yeah, I just love the fact that, I mean, we're doing this in real time. Like when I spoke with you last, you were at that point where you were about to be launching all of this. You already now have launched all of this. This is phase one of the things that you're doing. And I want to get into how you see Bucket.io and the tools you're building out for everyone who's looking at this whole personalized approach evolving as well. But I also want to say that, like, now's the time for everyone to be following along on these pathways as well. So let me just share a couple of things here. First of all, the first one is I just want to share the fact, and Brian, you can share a bit more about this in a second as well, that where we have got our slides, there is actually a slide where for everyone who's really into what Ryan's been sharing, you can actually follow along. And I'm going to link this to how we're building out our partner portal with all of these aspects as well. I'm also going to come back to this whole topic about how do you even get that billionaire mindset, and a particular video, which I recommend everyone watches. We'll drop the link in here as well. And this is the video of Tom Billio, who recently interviewed two of our faculty members, Peter and Salim, with the launch of their book, Exponential Organization 2.0. And what's really key here is one thing they say at the very, very beginning, which is that we are soon going to see multiple billion-dollar three-man businesses, right? Like, so there's something about that whole aspect about a paradigm shift where most of us say, well, I would be bigger if I had the money, or I would be bigger if I had the talent. And now it's like, wait, those are not excuses anymore, because AI can actually replace an entire workforce. And so how do you actually think the opposite, which is how do I get to where we want to get to without having to have a massive workforce, right? And how can you use AI in a more intelligent way? But one thing here is that in these slides here, you will also see that there is, and by the way, these links, we'll drop these links in as well, where there's obviously the Ask Method site itself, which is the original site giving you all the tools pre-AI, right? That basically already allows you to build all the things that you're hearing used to take weeks and now can happen so much faster. There's some great PDFs as well, where, like, what I love is where your brain works to actually just break down everything into how you segment and how you think about each step of the process, which obviously everyone can see in the pathways forward. And then now you can already see on Bucket.io, you've got the whole AI 3.0 and the way that pretty much everything you've been sharing already is in here, so people can see what they can do, how they can do it. I'd love for you to share just from, well, first of all, what is it that everyone can come and join? Because I know we've actually got a link here, which
Yes.
we'll take. I'm going to leave this up here as well, where all of our members can actually get, like, right into your brain and the way you're thinking about this going forward as well. So can you just share something about what you have coming up?
Yeah, great question. And for anyone who's watching this right now, if you're like, oh gosh, like this looks like I want to learn how to do this, and I'm interested in getting my hands on this technology, we are doing a special workshop for everyone here in the community that is all about how to get more clients faster and do the extension of everything we started talking about here today using AI-powered client getting strategies. And I'm going to be specifically taking you deeper inside the technology to not only create your market message, but actually walk you through the process of building out your entire offer, your copy, your language, even building out all of your pages using that content in much more detail. And so for those of you who are interested in, like, I want to get my hands on this technology, I want to, like, play around with it myself, and I want to see how it works in a bit more action, we're doing a special workshop, and you can go to that, I think the QR code, and I think there's a link that we might provide as well that you can go to that special benefit for being a member of this community that we wanted to do for anyone interested in going deeper. And it's happening live, and it's right around the corner. So I recommend if this is something that you're interested in and you're watching this right now, to scan the QR code, click, get yourself in, and I look forward to seeing you on the session.
Yeah, absolutely. And this directly links in with our partner portal, where everything's about the plan, the build, the grow, and how do you make sure that you have all the components in place so you don't put all the effort into creating something that's simply not compelling enough or isn't basically as engaging as it could be if you really kind of amp that part up. And I think that's one of the biggest issues many people have. They'll go through all the motions of putting the ads out and putting the pages out and so on, but someone who goes through that, it could be some super simple things that you just tweak and suddenly people find it super compelling. You miss those pieces out, and then for all that same effort, you get like a tenth of the result, if even that, right? This whole pathway that you're on, like what I find really interesting is that the way the speed you've gone through this and said, okay, I'm not just going to use AI in a way that's not personalized. I'm going to personalize it in a way that works for my process, my method. And we talk about this, like what really impressed, I'm sure everyone who's watched this, what really impressed them is the fact that you've been able to go to your community who already understand these steps, and now made it so much faster for them to move through that. And I encourage everyone who's got your own community with your own steps to be doing the same thing you're seeing Ryan do here as well. That's where we say, look, it's not just about artificial intelligence, it's also about human intelligence. And when you link the two together, you get superhuman intelligence. And that's what you exactly you say. It's not going to be AI on its own that does this. It's going to be the combination of AI and it's the horse and the jockey, right? It's how you ride it and how you actually get it to maximum results for your entire community, which is real power here. So how do you see, with where you're at right now, how do you see this evolve and develop, like maybe a year, 2 years from now? Will we see a situation where, not only will it actually say, all right, like, here's the suggestions or here's the kind of success stories, but hey, we've actually put out real life success stories that are already online that you can now be using within the community. We're already basically like looking and saying, you've got X% more likely to find this interesting based on what we're studying elsewhere. Where do you see it going?
It's a great question. I want to speak to something that you mentioned just a moment ago for everyone here who has a business that's built around your expertise, that's built around your intellectual property, that's built around your experience, your skills, your passions, and a combination of all the above. It's always been my kind of approach that you start with a philosophy, you build that into a methodology, and then you leverage technology in order to make that a more successful endeavor. So philosophy first, then methodology, then technology. Now, technology is the most difficult thing to get right because it's rules-based. Philosophy, you can have kind of a big picture idea, but the philosophy needs to be right. If the philosophy is not wrong, there's no piece of technology that's going to actually help you execute that approach. So the philosophy that we have here is that by asking people what they want, by understanding your audience at a deep emotional level, you can better sell and better serve. That's the philosophy. Now, the methodology is this ask method, which is this process that we've spent the last decade plus really refining and continually refining. And then we have the technology piece that we've built around it to execute that methodology. Now, what I'll say is where things are headed right now, and what we're really excited about in our business is the melding of that content creation and the actual page creation itself. So imagine being in a very short amount of time, being able to take that content that you've come up with, literally pushing a button, and that gets automatically created into an entire funnel, series of steps, series of web pages on your website that incorporate all of that content that you've built in literally just a push of a button. In other words, not having to actually, then take that content and use another piece of technology to build out your landing page, to build out your registration page for your, interview, your workshop, your webinar, whatever it may be, your checkout page, your cart page, literally just connecting. And in our case, the two pieces of the technology. So the first piece of the technology is all these great outputs that we get. And then with that, being able to build the actual page itself, literally pushing a button, and then that content gets pushed. Right now, that's a semi-manual process. It's not automatic, being able to take that and build it into an actual quiz like this right here. But what we're headed toward is a world where you can literally take that content and it automatically creates these pieces right here. And I think that is going to be a next stepwise shift in this space, specifically for those of us who have digital-based businesses, to be able to rapidly deploy new ideas. So I think we're going to be in this period of, as they say, the Cambrian explosion of new things being tried and tested, because the effort required to put something out there is so much less, orders of magnitude less than it was even 12 months ago. Being able to not obsess with perfection paralysis and say, well, what if my thing doesn't succeed? Just put it out there. It's only going to take a matter of minutes, but you are only limited by your imagination. So for those of us who are creatives, and I would consider myself in that category, I think you're in that category as well, Roger. For those of us who are creatives, one of the most frustrating things I think we all face is we have an idea, and it's the latency, the lag between having an idea and being able to execute on that idea. That lag is radically shrinking. The delay in the system is almost gone, so that when you turn the faucet in your shower in the morning and you get instant hot water, we're approaching a world where you'll have the faucet turned on of your idea in the morning, and by tea time in the afternoon, that idea will be executed. You'll be putting something out there in the world to test that idea in real time. I think that's going to lead to the greatest period of innovation and new idea development than perhaps we've ever experienced. So I'm really, really excited to be alive at this time, and to be playing a small role in the lives of our clients and students, to be able to help provide some tools to help make that in fact possible.
Very exciting. That's so cool. Thank you so much, Ryan, for just sharing an insight, not just basically in how you see AI, but how you're actually adopting it and the speed with which you're adopting as well. I think that's what's so exciting about this community is having, experts like yourselves, like just embracing it and knowing how important it is to embrace. I believe, like, by the time there's others who are figuring out how to do what you've just done, we're already going to be at that next level where I don't think it'll be that long before, websites are going to be updating themselves and optimizing themselves, right? With AI basically saying, well, I'm going to try this headline instead of that headline, and split testing without us even having to get involved in that, right? And then eventually personalizing so that it's coming with your favorite quotes or colors, or even success stories based on people, and everything's going to become personalized. And that's all that kind of like third aspect. We talk about prep and then prompt and then produce, right? And the production side becomes more and more fluid. The more AI actually has a role there to play as well. So I think it's going to be extremely fast growth future as well, because this isn't like 5 years in the future. This is like talking about, basically months, a year away, right? It's pretty awesome. Very cool. Hey, Ryan, I want to say a big thank you to you. Don't leave yet. We're going to take just 5 minutes now where I'm going to invite Michelle to come join us as well, because basically what we are inviting you in this pathway with Ryan, all links in with our pathway for the Genius Metaversity. We have two things that I want to share with you. We have got on these slides with the Genius Metaversity, the fact that everything Ryan's just been sharing on, we're going to make sure that we give you the links and the ways to integrate everything that Ryan's doing into Genius U as well. So that basically, as for all of you who are partners, as you plan, build, and grow your business on Genius U, you have all those elements as well. I mean, you've seen here already in the way that we're built out. Plan your school in a week, build your school in 3 weeks, grow your school over the next 3 months. This 3-month process that we have, we're basically a whole new intake coming in. And much of what you just heard in terms of like the products, the pathways, the compelling offer are all the things that Ryan already has worked out how to do on bucket.io with AI, which is super awesome too. All of this links for those of you who are not part of our Genius Metaversity and want to be part of it, where we give you all these free resources, because some of you are invited here as guests to listen to this as well. Here is a link for you to come and basically come join us, so that every month you're hearing from awesome people coming to join. We do have, as you can see here, Ryan in July, but we do have Rich Sheffrin in August, Liz Germain in September, Marissa Murgatroyd in October, Jason Flagelin in November. Each of them are experts in their field, and every one of them is embracing AI in a different way, in the way they're actually then integrating their pieces as well. But we also have got an entire calendar. Do you want to just highlight a couple of different things, Michelle, on the calendar people should know about? And if they want to have more information, what the next steps are for them to kind of connect up with Duncan?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan. It was great listening to you. So specifically in this case, we have the Investor Dynamics Masters at the end of the month, so that you can really make sure that you are understanding how to put an investment portfolio together in your success journey as an entrepreneur, right? And then for me, what's super, super exciting is actually iLab is back. iLab is our one of our premier programs that we only ran before COVID, actually. So it hasn't been live for many, many years. And we're running our very first one at the end of July. And so, we'll drop the link in, and anyone can just book a call if you're keen to come. This is going to give you the basic steps of going through this journey. But the best part, Roger, is you're going to be there, yay, and it's going to be live, right? So Donna is also going to be mentoring. So if you are keen to get some travel in over the warm months in August and spend time with Roger just before his birthday, I think it's a good thing to do. So
Yeah, that's gonna be in Bali. That's at our resort in Bali as well, Fusion Villas.
Yeah. And then in September, we've got the big summit coming up. So I think some of our big speakers will be there. So those are the basics for the next 3 months of where you definitely need to be attending. Plus, obviously, your usual weekly calls, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. So very, very cool. And we've got obviously all the links in so you can connect up with Duncan, speak with the team. What we want to do is make sure that we have got an entire network of superhuman learning coming from those who are embracing AI and then sharing results with each other across all of the different disciplines with all the experts that are actually working in this area right now as well, which is fantastic. And of course, there's already people doing awesome stuff. I think you're going to share the Shine Awards right now in terms of who we have in the community that's been doing awesome stuff. So I will hand over this to you for that, Michelle.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So thank you so much, Roger. This is where we're at this month. Let me just share my screen. So ultimately, every month, as you know, you're getting into the vibe of this. We are supporting and measuring our clients' success and sharing it on these things. So what's really amazing is that we recognize monthly, and you can get a place in one of our Wealth Dynamics or Investor Dynamics virtual classes, as well as the quarterly winners, which actually get to go live to Bali. So we've just announced actually at our partner conference. So there's some of here is a little bit of a sneak peek that you've already seen, some of you maybe. But these are the awards specifically for the month of July. We've got Marissa, Joseph, Stuart, and Stephanie Chan and Farah Fahmy. So it's a mixture of our clients in the different areas from resellers, partners, and Crystal Circle members, actually. So Marissa over here, the reason I nominated her is because she's the founder of Live Your Message, and she literally turns entrepreneurs into online superheroes. But the big thing here is she's been using Wealth Dynamics for a very long time, Roger, and she basically used her 1,000th token. I'm sorry, that was a bit of a tongue twister last week. So she's actually been using it for many, many years. And it's actually great to see that our coaches, trainers, and mentors are still using what we've got and our tokens and our stuff. So, yeah. Joseph, the founder of and CEO of Shine Consulting, is our next nomination. And the reason I'm nominating Joseph and his team actually is because they ran a project management workshop in Czech and had like 755 registrations and a 60% show-up rate, which was really amazing. And now he's in the transformation of converting that into English because he's our partner in project management. So everything you guys talk about with AI, he gets so excited. He sends me all these links all the time, and he's really changing the world of project management by also using all of our techniques and things that we've taught him over the years, which is super, super amazing. Thirdly, Stuart. He's a sustainable business coach. He's just joined us as a city leader for London and Southern home countries. The UK is super big, but ultimately he's been working, and he's got like an entrepreneur TV show, which is super great. He's super excited. He started like recommending clients to come through for our lab and partnerships. And so these appointments have been made. But the reason I wanted to recognize him is because he was so excited as joining in. It's been a passion of his for many years. And he suddenly brought me like 3 referrals in 1 week just to have conversations with. So this is really what it's about, growing your network. And last but not least, we have Stephanie and Farah. And ultimately, they started Incubator 5 years ago, Incubator, if I said it too fast. But the big thing about this is that they've had this, the biggest challenge was they're facing yellow level, and it become increasingly difficult to get their resources moving correctly and things like that. And they've been part of the Crystal Circle mentoring program, and they've found solutions in this space. So expanded to second locations, expanding their client base, and they've generated a lot of extra cash in their business at the moment. So I was really wanting to recognize that we have great clients in all of our areas. So this is why I recognize them. So, and the winner is Marissa today. So I'm giving her the acknowledgement of that. And what you can also find in, so congratulations. And you can find the winners of the quarterly awards, which we mentioned last week. And these were the nominations, Sue, Katrina, and Dr. M. And out of everything that's happened, Dr. M came out on the top, right? So we already recognized him last week, and you should have seen some of the posts. But he's definitely building a massive community in Chennai. So really, really grateful for all the winners and the clients and everybody that works together with us. And that's me.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And with that, big congrats to all of the Shine Award winners and to Marissa, who, as you saw, is also going to be one of our expert speakers coming on in the next couple of months. I want to come back to Ryan on a final takeaway for everybody. And Ryan, I'm going to go back to the core before we even had AI here, the core issue about data and about understanding your customer, right? Like, obviously we're at a point right now, just like you, where we have so many data points because people have volunteered information about themselves, which is not the quantitative, how many times did I come on a page, but it's the qualitative, where do I want to be in life, or what's my biggest challenge, or what's my personality. Had a really interesting conversation with Peter DeMatteis's team, because he's got a whole series of assessments he wants to take, and his head of AI was on there and saying, what can you tell us about assessments that could help us in what we're guiding? And I said one thing, which he says, okay, that's a huge insight, which was obvious to me, but for others who don't understand what they, even when you use the word ask, there's different things you can ask. One thing I said to him is, listen, what most people want to put on assessment is something like a progress assessment, like, how good is your mindset? 0 to 10. Oh, you're a 2, right? And I said that you definitely don't want to start with that, because if you start with that, someone's already demotivated about the fact that they aren't good enough, right? Unless there's a promise about where they can be by next week or next month. But if you do something that's personality based, or something that validates something about themselves, even if it's a challenge they're having, then they don't basically turn away. They actually go, okay, I want to take the next step. Then you can bring in the progress assessments, right? And I said that's that difference of personality and progress. The difference of assessments is so important because most people get it wrong. And then the second thing is the actual qualifying of different people. When you showed your spreadsheet, and one of the questions you asked them was, well, how much are you generating right now? 5,000, 10,000 a month. So many people miss that out, but that's the vertical assessment, which allows you to bucket them into their earning potential or spending potential, which so many people miss out on as well. And it's the most important question if you really want to be able to actually make sure you're not wasting their time and your time as well. And you've got like 1,000 other distinctions around this as well. So that's kind of a long way of basically asking you to sum up for anyone here who is not yet using assessments at all and is still just trying to basically promote their programs. What would you say in terms of how critical it is to ask, but also know what to ask?
Such a deep question. In the few minutes that we have before we have to wrap, what I will say is this. It's like planting a tree. The best time to get started was 20 years ago. Second best time to get started is today. I think people have a lot of intimidation around to create the perfect assessment. What I would say for anybody who's sitting here right now, maybe frozen and not sure what to begin with, start by asking a single question, what we call a 1-question quiz, just to get your feet wet. Before you ask for someone to give you their contact information on your website, whether it's in exchange for a lead magnet or in exchange for signing up for a workshop that you might be hosting, whatever thing that you're asking people, ask into different buckets based on, for example, the single challenge struggling with right now. If you had to choose your single big B, C, tribes, where in journey are you A, B, C, or D? Third option is, which of the following best describes you? Are you role A, role B, or role C, or role D? In other words, are you a teacher? Are you a principal? Are you a superintendent? Or are you a parent, right? So if you serve different types of people, at least understand who they are. With that one piece of information alone, even if you do nothing with it here today, even if you don't take action on it here today, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, when you've had 100, 1,000, 10,000 people take action on your website, or whatever the number may be, you're going to look back and say, I wish I knew X. Even if you don't do anything with that information here today, having that information is going to be something that you can act on and learn from. You'll be able to know, if nothing else, which of your buckets represent your best buyers? Is it the teachers, the superintendents, the parents, or the principals? Which of your buckets spends the most money with you? Is it people who are at stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4? Which is the biggest challenge that exists in your market right now, which may indicate perhaps what next product you should focus on solving, or what next content area you should dive into more deeply? Is it challenge 1, challenge 2, challenge 3, challenge 4? So pick one of those 3 things. Biggest challenge, where someone is in their journey of success. So Roger, to your point, if it's a business client, it could be, where are you revenue wise, which represents kind of a journey question, or is it role? In other words, which of the following best describes you? Are you this type, that type, or this other type here? And just start with that one question quiz. I'm telling you, when you get started with that, you will be hooked before you know it, and you'll be off to the races making your own wealth dynamics equivalent assessment before long. So Roger, that's the 30, 60, 90-second piece of advice I would give for anyone wanting to know how to get started when it comes to the very deep subject of creating an assessment or quiz in your business.
Fantastic. That's super awesome. Ryan, thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome. Really looking forward to your upcoming masterclass as well. And we'll be obviously catching up again very shortly. Thanks a lot, everyone, for attending.
Oh, I think Roger might have got cut off there, guys. So a little bit of housekeeping before we say goodbye. Of course, thank you to you all for joining us on this call. If you are a Genius Metaversity member, you can find the slides and the recording, and of course the slides and recordings for all the other calls and loads of other tools and all the other features and benefits of Genius Metaversity by going directly to the private gem circle. I've just shared the link. If you're already a member, you can go straight over there and you can get all the resources, etc., etc. If you are not a Genius Metaversity member, but you would like to join us, I know that there's a very, very attractive offer. I think you can join us for a month for free. Give it a try. And then I think it's $270 US a year only. At the moment, you're getting 4 of these webinars a month. There's heaps and heaps of other tools, guys. It's a wonderful community. And on top of that, you've got access to quite a lot of premium features on the GU platform, not only content generating features that allow you to use GI and upcoming Genie AI in your business to help you generate revenue, promotions, etc., but you've also got lots and lots of premium training in there that, you know, people buy on Genius U every day. GM members have access to nearly all of that. So it's well worth an explore. If you're not a member, then please click the link that I just gave you. Give yourself a month's trial, and we'll see you back here for the next masterclass. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all your wonderful comments. And if you are a GM member, I'll see you over in the circle. And if not, hopefully you'll claim that free month. Mary's just shared the link again, and I'll see you on the next masterclass or workshop. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. By the way, guys, if you don't click the link and you've got your device ready, you can just scan the QR. By the way, guys, you can scan the QR code to claim your free month trial of the Genius Metaversity program. If you don't want to click that link, so that's what that QR code is right there. Click that, go for it, register, get your free month, and I'll see you in the next one. Michelle, to be clear, if I wasn't too clear, it's a month free, and then it's $270 US for 12 months. So it's for the whole year, just 270. So just to be clear there, I'm not really so clear. Hope you got that.